I'm not saying that the ending is everything. You could have a great 90 minutes and a terrible final 5, and you've still had a pretty decent time. It's like a relationship. You don't judge the 3 years you spent together solely on a 20-minute shouting match in the driveway while you were loading a microwave into a Honda Civic. But in cinema, the ending is the parting gift, so to speak. It's the vibe that you carry out into the lobby. And lately, I've wanted to do something a little more clinical here on the channel. I'm starting a new mini-series called An Autopsy of Endings. I want to cut these films open and see why some final frames feel like a heartbeat and others just sort of evaporate. So, what is the goal here? Well, it's to break down the how and the why of the fade out. We've got the happy ending, why it has to be earned, otherwise it's just lying to us. You've got the tragic ending, why sad is often just another word for warning. And you've also got the bittersweet ending, the success cost matrix. So in this video, let's start off with the stuff that makes us feel better about being alive, the earned win. Now, there's a segment of the film bro population. You know the ones that I'm talking about. They own the Criterion edition of Sallow, and they haven't smiled since 2012. And they think that happy endings, not that kind, are unrealistic. They think that misery equals honesty, but when we look at the anatomy of a story, a happy ending, not that kind, isn't a lie. It's a restoration of order. It's the universe saying, I saw what you went through, and I'm gonna make it right. It's not just a smile, it's justice. But for a long time in Hollywood, happiness wasn't a creative choice. It was the law. From 1934 to 1968, we had the Hays Code. Now, this wasn't just a list of no-no words. It was a moral straitjacket designed by a Presbyterian elder named Will Hays. The code's governing philosophy was something called moral compensation. The core principle was simple and, frankly, a little terrifying. Look at that. No picture shall be produced which will lower the moral standards of those who see it. This turned Hollywood into a factory of corrective ends. If you were a writer back then, you didn't ask, what's the most honest ending? You asked, how do I satisfy the censors so this movie actually gets released? Take The Bad Seed, for example. In the original play, the kid murderer, who is basically a pint-sized Ted Bundy, gets away with it. She wins. But in 1956, that was a one-way ticket to a permanent ban, so the movie adds a literal act of God. She walks out onto a pier and is hit by a sudden karmic bolt of light. It's absurd, it's a surgical graft that doesn't necessarily match the rest of the body. But that was the price of the fade out. The world had to be fair, even if you had to call down a thunderstorm to make it happen. People like to mock this era. They call it Capricorn, a reference to Frank Capra and his supposedly sugary, optimistic movies. But if you actually perform an autopsy on It's a Wonderful Life, for example, you'll find a movie that is terrifyingly dark. George Bailey doesn't get a happy ending, not that kind, because he's a nice guy. He gets a happy ending, not that kind, because he has reached the absolute limit of human endurance. He is standing on a bridge, ready to disappear, and he's convinced that his life is worth more as an insurance payout than as a human soul. Capra wasn't just following the rules, he was hacking them. He knew that for the restoration of order to feel like a relief and not a lecture, the disorder had to be absolute. The happy ending, not that kind, in It's a Wonderful Life, isn't a gift, it's a rescue. It's the sound of a man being pulled back from a ledge. So here's a question, why did we agree to these rules for 30 years? Why did audiences buy it? Well, it's because of a cognitive bias called the just world hypothesis. As humans, we have a deep biological need to believe that noble actions are rewarded and evil is punished. We want to believe that if we work hard and play by the rules, the universe will look out for us. The Hays Code wasn't just a censor's whim. It was a reflection of our own collective anxiety. We used the cinema as a laboratory to prove that the world wasn't chaotic. We needed to see the lightning bolt hit the bad seed, because if she got away with it, what did that say about our world? If you're sitting at a keyboard trying to write a happy ending, not that kind, that doesn't make people roll their eyes, you have to realize that happiness isn't a destination. It's a reaction. It's the feeling of a bone being set back into place. To get it right, you need to use the right tools. The first tool is called the false peak. In the surgery of a screenplay, this is the dark night of the soul. It's the point where you systematically strip the hero of every weapon, every ally, and every shred of hope. Think about Toy Story 3. Intellectually, we know that we're watching a G-rated Pixar movie. We know that they aren't going to turn Woody and Buzz into a pile of melted plastic. But for 90 agonizing seconds, the movie makes us believe that they might. They stop fighting, they hold hands, and they accept their fate. And this isn't just for kids' movies. Look at Rocky. In the final fight, he gets dropped. The music stops. His trainer is screaming for him to stay down. The audience feels the defeat. And that right there is the secret. A happy ending, not that kind, isn't just winning. It's a rescue. If the hero is never in real danger of losing, physically or emotionally, the ending doesn't feel like a relief. It feels like an appointment. You have to kill all hope to save it. If you want the audience to cheer at the finish line, you have to make them mourn at the 45-minute mark. Tool number 2, understand the difference between the external win and the internal win, or as writers call it, the want versus the need. The want is the plot goal. It's the money, the trophy, the court case. The need is the emotional vacuum the character is trying to fill. In Liar Liar, Jim Carrey's character Fletcher Reed has a want, and that is to win the court case and keep his career on track. That's the engine of the movie. But his need, on the other hand, is to become a father who doesn't lie to his son. A saccharine ending only solves the plot. It's the guy getting the check or walking into the sunset, and that's boring. A soul-stirring ending solves the person. Often, the best happy endings, not that kind, involve the hero failing at what they wanted so that they could finally achieve what they needed. Fletcher loses the legal battle. He loses his professional standing. He practically loses his life chasing a Boeing 747 on a luggage cart. He fails the plot, but he wins the soul. So when you're writing, ask yourself, what is the character willing to give up to find the truth? If the answer is nothing, your ending is going to feel like a Hallmark card. If they have to sacrifice the want to get the need, you've got yourself a classic. Now, the biggest mistake you can make as a writer is hitting the reset button. A happy ending, not that kind, isn't a return to the status quo. It's the establishment of a better one. If your character ends the movie exactly the same person they were on page 1, the audience feels like they just wasted 2 hours of their life. You haven't written a story, you've written an anecdote. Just look at Groundhog Day. The plot resets every morning, but the character doesn't. Phil Connors doesn't get the girl and break the loop because he figured out the magic. He gets the happy ending because he spent 10,000 years, give or take, becoming a person worthy of it. So here's a writing tip. Compare your first scene to your last scene, and if your protagonist would make the same decision in both places, your ending is dead on arrival. Dorothy, for instance, in The Wizard of Oz, returns to Kansas, sure, but she doesn't return the girl who wanted to run away. She returns as someone who finally understands that home isn't a place you escape, it's a place that you build. The world looks the same, but the eyes looking at it have changed. And finally, there's circular symmetry. Our brains are wired for patterns. We find comfort in things that rhyme. In a narrative autopsy, this is the connective tissue that ties the head to the feet. If you start your film with a specific visual wound, a problem, or a setting that represents the hero's unhappiness, returning to a healed version of that image at the end provides a deep subconscious sense of completion. It's why The Lion King starts and ends on the exact same rock with the exact same song. It tells the viewer's brain the cycle is complete now, order is restored, you are safe. So, why do we go through all this trouble? Why obsess over the mechanics of joy? Why use these specific surgical tools just to make people feel happy? Well, it's because of a phenomenon called narrative transport. You see, when a story is built correctly, when the anatomy is sound, our brains don't just watch it. We don't just sit in a dark room eating overpriced popcorn and observing. We actually transport. For 2 hours, the self vanishes. You aren't just observing Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption. Your neural pathways are firing as if you are Andy Dufresne. You aren't watching a rescue, you are being rescued. Your brain is essentially practicing for a world where triumph is possible. When we defend the happy ending, not that kind, we aren't just defending escapism or lowbrow entertainment. We are defending belief. As a writer, Your job isn't to lie to the audience. Your job is to remind them that the struggle means something, that the price of the fade out, the suffering, the loss, the false peaks was worth the cost of the journey. And let's be real, we live in a world that is often unscripted, unfair, profoundly messy, and up. If we don't see order restored and kindness rewarded, at least somewhere, even if it's just in a flickering box of light, it's a lot harder to believe that we could build it in the real world. But look, I know what some of you are thinking. Josh, the world isn't always a warm blanket. Sometimes it's a cold, concrete floor. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes the most honest thing a writer could do isn't to save the hero, but to let them fall. Because if the happy ending, not that kind, is about belief, the tragic ending is about consequence. So next time, we're putting away the blanket and we're picking up the scalpel. We're going to look at movies that end in tragedy, and more importantly, why we keep asking them to hurt us. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is, as you could tell, very different than what I normally do on this channel. And I really hope that you liked it. And if you did, go down to the comments and let me know if you want me to continue making videos like this with writing tips where I'm analyzing certain things about movies. I think I want to start doing that a little bit more. And when you're done down in the comments, don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to be notified when new videos come out on this channel. And if you want extra brownie points, go share it with some friends. Go put it over on Reddit, go put it over on Twitter, go just tell people to come to the channel. And then when you're done with that, don't forget to follow me over on Letterboxd so you can see what I'm watching, when I'm watching it. And then when you're done with that, go check out my podcast. And as a reminder, if you want to be a guest on my podcast, all you have to do is send a friendly email down to this email down below, cinemawellnesschannel@gmail.com, and then we will get you on the show. That's going to do it for me. Again, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you all next time.